not only did SmackDown start with a match and feature a match at the 9 o'clock hour for the first time in a long time, we went a full 90 minutes of SmackDown without a single in-ring promo segment, just matches and promo segments backstage. Of course, the only thing anyone would talk about after this show is the in-ring promo segment that followed after 9:30. WWE Smackdown was in the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah on February the 16th, 2024, and these are my thoughts. Welcome to SVS Wrestling on YouTube and the SVS Wrestling podcast by Silo Voice Studios in Montreal. I'm Jason C. McLean. Now, before we really get started, I'd just like to remind everyone that normally I do the Raw, SmackDown, and PLE reviews only in written form at svsreviews.com/wrestling. But like I did for Raw, I'm doing this one on the video channel and the podcast as well, too. So we started off with a shot of The Rock doing heel parking, really bad parking job. It was a video that was shared earlier in the day, too, on WWE socials, so I kind of knew The Rock was there. Of course, we all knew The Rock was there, and Roman Reigns as well, too. Later in the show, we get the other video they shared of Roman Reigns arriving and hugging Jimmy Uso for some reason. Anyways, the actual show, though, in-ring started off with a match. It started off with Kevin Owens versus Dirty Dominic Mysterio of the Judgment Day in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Now, Dom did cut a promo while walking down to the ring. I don't know if he wasn't in the ring, so that doesn't count as an in-ring promo segment. But of course, it was a massive crowd, sold out building, like over 13,000. We later find out that it was actually a record. We'll find out what record that was a little bit later. Anyways, the crowd was definitely into booing Dom. You could still hear him. They didn't have to do anything technological. You could tell it was organic booing, but it was good that they went back to this. And of course, it was a very strong match on both parts. Kevin Owens, after Dom did tried the Three Amigos, Kevin Owens broke out of it and tried his own Canadian Friends, as Corey Graves called it on commentary. Broke out of that too. Dom kicked out of a swanton. Dom actually executed a 619 on the first shot. They never get the 619, either Dom or Ray. They never get the 619 on the first shot, but he did it this time. But of course, Kevin Owens kicked out. There was a lot of great storytelling in that match, but of course, the real story came when R-Truth showed up. Now, on Raw on Monday, we saw that R-Truth has finally realized he's not part of Judgment Day. Dom tried, but of course, he's here because he thinks Kevin Owens is the Miz for some reason. Miz is fighting later, so I'm surprised he showed up for the wrong Miz. And Dom tries to trick him and tell him he's in Judgment Day if he gets him in the chair, but R-Truth finally ended that chapter in the story to a huge crowd pop. He sat down on the chair, and that caused a distraction that allowed Kevin Owens to win. Now, I wanted Kevin Owens to win, but I really thought Dom was the one who was going to take it. But hey, sometimes the good guys win, and this closed off a story that wasn't Kevin Owens' story, but it closed off the R-Truth and Judgment Day story, which was really nice. And then we went backstage. Now, this is probably one of the highlights of the show for me. It was a unexpected backstage promo between Drew McIntyre, who was giving an interview, and LA Knight. Yeah, I kind of think we have to say that every time he comes on the screen. Anyways, McIntyre was giving his promo, like Knight comes in and interrupts him. Among other things, he called him old man or old timer, which is really funny. As Drew later pointed out on X or Twitter, he shared a side-by-side Wikipedia showing that Drew is actually 38 and LA Knight is 41. So who you call an old timer? I know these two have history in, I believe it's TNA, but I didn't know this was a conflict that I needed. I guess we're going to get it. We have the two of them in the Elimination Chamber. We also have we have Randy Orton in the Elimination Chamber. And we have Kevin Owens. More on Kevin Owens a little bit later, but and who he might be interacting with a lot in the chamber. I thought LA Knight was going to interact with this person, but it's Kevin Owens. Spoiler alert, Logan Paul. Anyways, this was fun. This was fiery, and this was not something I knew I needed, but I'm glad, of course, that we got it. Now, we had a match, a women's Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Zelina Vega versus Tiffany Stratton. And I didn't know there was a large Puerto Rican community in Salt Lake City, Utah, so much so that Zelina Vega would try the same in-ring entrance that she tried at the actual Puerto Rico event Backlash last year. She came out with the Puerto Rican flag, but it still went really well. She was still really over, and it was a good match. But of course, a lot of this had to do with it was a very fun match, very fun to watch match. Stratton looked great in her, I guess this is really her second in-ring match on the main roster, unless you count the Royal Rumble, and she qualified for the Elimination Chamber. Spoiler alert. They're both really fiery. There were plenty of excitement in this match, but of course, the Legado del Fantasma was sitting at ringside, and Elektra Lopez from that group really got under Vega's skin, caused a distraction, which Stratton took full advantage of and hit a really strong-looking, prettiest moonsault ever. Apparently, Vega needed to be helped out of the ring after, as the camera focused on Stratton. That's another story, but it was hopefully everyone's okay. But wow, Stratton's really making a good impression on the main roster. I had said in the previous article that originally I thought she was going for a Chelsea Green thing, but no, it's kind of like if Gunther was a Barbie doll. That's kind of the impression I get of Tiffany Stratton. Very successful match. Now, in the midst of all this, we did actually just before this match, we got another backstage segment with Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, and Bate suggested a tag team name. I can't remember what it is now. I didn't write it down. It just sounded really bad. What's wrong with British Strong Style? But of course, that was to set up a later match between Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough versus Dunne and Bate next week, which is the typical way any of Judgment Day's tag team championship challengers. They always have to fight Dom and JD the week before. Of course, next week is actually taped after this show, so hopefully no spoilers come out about that one. But then we also got we also got to catch up with the members of Damage Control, the current members of Damage Control, which is Io Sky, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. And like Shinsuke Nakamura is doing on Raw, they actually got to cut a promo in Japanese, which was really good. Nice video promo. I do think that Dakota Kai is going to join up with them and is actually not really supporting Bayley and just trying to trick Bayley. But it's kind of good that she's officially out of the group now, because it allowed them to actually cut a promo in Japanese. And of course, they are all Japanese. That's their mother tongue. Their English isn't that great. And having them be able to speak mostly in their own language really makes with subtitles, really makes the promo a lot stronger. But of course, SmackDown rolled on. And then, okay, what are we doing here? I know I said I wanted to see either a tag team, the Authors of Pain, or Karrion Kross in a singles match, something from people from the New Testament fighting Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits in either singles matches or tag team matches. I didn't want to see the Authors, I almost called them Archers of Pain, the Authors of Pain fighting two jobbers from NXT, who I don't even know from what I know of NXT. And of course, they demolished them. It was a chance for the whole group to come down. I don't know what kind of outfits Akam and Razor, the Authors of Pain, were wearing, but they were kind of odd. I wanted to see them against part of the other faction they're fighting, not them against people that we all know are going to lose, and they demolished them in a few minutes. Nice to see them in a match. They could have picked a better match. Also, since when are we using NXT guys as jobbers? That's a strange choice. But of course, then at the 9 o'clock hour, we got some star power. We got Logan Paul against The Miz. Now, I had actually forgotten that Miz and Logan Paul The Miz is the one who brought Logan Paul into the WWE, and they've already fought. Of course, we were reminded of that on commentary numerous times. And both of them looked really strong. Now, I knew Logan Paul was going to go over because the way they're stocking up this Elimination Chamber, it's star power. And yes, The Miz is a star, but Logan Paul fits in better with the current crop of stars. They're both very strong. Miz did hit the skull crushing finale. Logan Paul has his own version of the skull crushing finale. The crowd was very into this match. And of course, it ended with the brass knuckles being passed to Logan Paul, Miz taking them, throwing them away. But of course, Logan Paul got the better of him, took advantage of a referee distraction, went right for the eyes, and won as a good heel does. This was Logan Paul's first television match, though. So kind of think he's going to win his first television match. I guess Logan Paul's becoming a more active member of the roster right now, which is nice. He's actually showing up on random episodes of SmackDown and fighting, not just cutting promos, but wrestling on them too. He made a comment about it last week, not wanting to wrestle in Utah. I thought that maybe they would somehow have The Miz be a no-show. Also, I thought R-Truth would come in this, but R-Truth already came in to help out The Miz. I bet you on Monday there's going to be some promo from R-Truth going, Miz, I helped you win. And Miz is like, I didn't win. You helped Kevin Owens win. Anyways, of course, we did have a great match. Naomi, with her brand new ring entrance, really strong, passionate ring entrance, which was matched only by Alba Fire's subsequent ring entrance along with Isla Dawn. It was like the Club Kids versus the Goths, something like that. But it was very, very theatrical entrances, and apparently that was Naomi's old TNA ring entrance, which she now brought into WWE, which is now her new WWE ring entrance. It was a really good match. Now, okay, I knew that Fire wasn't going to win specifically because she was a last-minute replacement for Shotzi, who unfortunately got injured on an NXT match, which is probably going to air next Tuesday, or it's going to be cut from the broadcast. We don't know because they're taping in advance because they're going to Australia. Anyways, still, it was a great match. They were both really impressive. Naomi, wow. Like, I wasn't really watching the last time when she had her run before, but really impressive work from both hands. And she ended up winning by submission, which she normally doesn't do. Like, incredibly athletic, incredibly hard hitting, two definite talents to watch. And I'm glad Naomi's going to be in the Women's Elimination Chamber, which the lineup is almost full. We have just one more person to go who's going to be determined in a brawl on Raw, I believe. So that'll sort that out. Now, as all of this is happening, just before the night, we've been throughout the night getting backstage segments with SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis. At one point, he's in a luxury box with, of all people, Braun Breaker. Well, that makes sense. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, of course, and Liv Morgan for some reason. They were all in the luxury box. They were all hanging out backstage. And when Tiffany Stratton came in after her match, she caused a bit of a fuss. Jade got right in their face. And that, of course, eventually paid off when all this actually came out to the ring just before the main event to announce that Braun Breaker was now signed to SmackDown. Now, I'm really happy for him. I think this is great. I kind of thought Braun was going to end up on Raw, maybe challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental title. That would have been good. Get into that mix. It made a lot more sense. Of course, Braun does have a history with Paul Heyman from NXT, so maybe mixing him with the Bloodline is going to be an interesting idea too. Maybe they just needed him on SmackDown. So that was a good, I guess, payoff to all those backstage segments. I'm wondering when Jade Cargill is going to sign. I'm pretty sure she's going to SmackDown too. Especially, we all really want to see her against Bianca Belair. She's apparently not going to be in the Elimination Chamber, although she was supposed to be put into it somehow. But I guess they don't want to necessarily have her take a pin so early in her run. Now, this leads to our final segment, the Bloodline. Roman Reigns comes down, takes him a few minutes to get to the ring. He asks Salt Lake City to acknowledge him. Then he goes right into insulting the crowd, only to set up what's coming next. Of course, what's coming next is the newest member of the Bloodline, The Rock. Yes, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He's full, not only heel Rock, not really Hollywood Rock. His outfit was kind of a mix between what he used to wear when he was a heel in the Attitude Era with stuff he wore as heel Rock. Really interesting look. He cut a wow. This was a heel promo 101 from The Rock. He basically announced the indoor attendance record, and then he said it was a record for the largest assemblage of trailer park trash The Rock has ever seen. Of course, massive boo, brings in Cody Crybabies. At one point, he turns to some guy in the crowd, says, shut up, fatty, or The Rock's going to come up there and knock the herpes off your face. Like, wow, really going for the jugular. He didn't acknowledge Cody Rhodes' Royal Rumble win, which is, of course, something people are poking faults in this promo, because he was claiming that the football teams like the San Francisco 49ers, and he went back to basketball, he went back to the Utah Jazz, losing to the Chicago Bulls, to Michael Jordan, and, being men. But the Utah Jazz actually came back the next year, and they lost again. So maybe he should have brought that up, and someone could have been like, well, and someone brought up that they came back, and then he says, well, that's what's going to happen. Cody's going to lose again. Anyways, I'm sure it's The Rock's mentality, and it's something that's going to come into effect when Cody and Seth respond to this promo on Raw. I like it. We have the major stars on SmackDown saying something, the major stars on Raw respond. It's really getting people to watch both shows. We don't know if The Rock and Roman are going to be on SmackDown every week, in particular The Rock, but we definitely know that Cody and Seth are going to be on Raw every week. So there's going to be continuation of that story. And of course, he culminated by saying, if you smell, cutting the crowd off from chanting along, if you smell what the bloodline is cooking. He put up his hand with the symbol. Now, some people have noticed something. At one point, when Rock was talking about, I'm going to use everything in my power, Cody, that when you will walk out of WrestleMania as a loser. And the camera angle cut from the hard cam on The Rock to a camera, to a side angle showing he was pointing directly at Roman Reigns when he said, walk away a loser. And Roman Reigns was looking away. Maybe they're setting up Rock having a face turn, screwing over Roman. Who knows? But on this night, we got heel Rock. And no matter how it happened, honestly, legends come back all the time, and we never get to boo them. They're always the returning hero. They're always for a bit. The Rock is back, and we're getting heel Rock. We get to boo The Rock. This is a privilege. Heel Rock is the best Rock, I'm realizing. I'm very excited for what we're getting, despite how it happened. And despite the fact that this was an unusual SmackDown with a lot of matches and no in-ring promos until the very end, and then we got the in-ring promo at the very end, and it was fire. This was a great episode. And of course, everyone's talking about what happened at the end, but they should be talking about all the matches we got along the way. We have a really stacked, think about the Elimination Chamber right now. We have, Drew McIntyre, the men's match. Drew McIntyre. We have Randy Orton. We have Bobby Lashley. We have LA Knight. Yeah. And now we have Kevin Owens and Logan Paul. Now, I guess they are going to continue the Logan Paul, Kevin Owens feud. I thought it was going to be Logan Paul, LA Knight, but maybe LA Knight and Drew. Who knows? Maybe LA Knight's going to be fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship. Things are very exciting right now, and you can follow this excitement written, aside from this week, obviously written, Raw, SmackDown, and WWE PLE reviews at svsreviews.com/wrestling. You can follow the podcast wherever you get your podcasts at SVS Wrestling Podcast, of course, on YouTube at SVS Wrestling. On Twitter or X, we now have an account dedicated specifically to our wrestling coverage. It's at Silo Wrestling. On Facebook, it's at SVS Reviews. On Instagram, it's at SVS Reviews. You can follow me at Jason C. McLean on X or Twitter and Instagram. I only really talk about the wrestling on X and Twitter a lot. I mean, I still share these articles there anywhere. This podcast might actually be going daily with a lot of commentary. So far, it's been almost daily, but it might be going daily. And I hope you check us out or check me out